Hey, what's up guys, this is Theo from Final Concept. So today we are going to transform this into this. So let's just get started.
Welcome to Final Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and open up my application. For this tutorial, I'm using Photoshop CC 2018 and I have already imported my image here. If you want to know how to import your image, you can just go to File and click on Open. Okay, now what we are going to do is basically color over this entire image I have here. So I'll grab a color like this. Now the reason for choosing this color is anytime you want to colorize your image, you have to select a much darker version of the color you want it to be. So I'm going with something like 623,903 and I'll click on OK. Now because this is our actual image, I don't want it to affect the actual image, so I'll go ahead and create a new layer. So I'll click on the new layer icon right here. Then I'll grab my brush tool, which is also right here. So I'll zoom in a bit and I'll just bring my mouse over here. Okay, so we want to start off with the face, then we move on to the hands and other parts of the body. So I'll go ahead and right click on this lasso tool and I'll select the first one, which is this one. Then I'll create a selection from here. Now you don't have to be, well, you actually have to be specific and select the entire region, but I'm just going to create a rough sketch over this portion. So you gradually take your time and you create something nice. Okay, so I have the selection here. I'll go back to my brush tool. Then I'm going to brush over this entire face. Now make sure your foreground color is set to this color because that's what you are going to be using. So I'll go ahead and just brush over that particular portion. Okay, so this is what I have. Now let's deselect. And I'll go to the lower portion. So you know what, I can also just reduce the size and I'll just brush over gently. So I'll do that. I'm expecting something like this. Now obviously because of the teeth and the eyes, you are going to be cleaning out certain portions of this particular part. Now you can see she actually has a headset, so I'll reduce the size because I don't want to be brushing over. But basically you can also brush over, then later on you just create a layer mask and you take that portion out. So that's what I'm going to do for this tutorial. So I'll just brush over that portion. Now once you've done this, let's just bring this up. Now because the face and the hands are going to be of the same color, I'm going to do the same thing for the hands. So first of all, I'll reduce the brush size so that I can get the edges right. And once I have done that, I'll just increase the brush size, then I'll brush in everything else. So now I have this, I'll just increase the size and I'll just make sure I color in all of this part. Now this is a little bit time consuming, so you have to just gradually take your time and do it. And since this is a tutorial, I'm not having too much patience with my work. If this was actually something I was doing for a friend or probably a client, I'll just take my time and make sure everything is perfect. So let's zoom out and see what we are getting. So this is the result. Now you go over to the blend mode up here then you change it to, now there are two modes we are going to be using, either soft light or color. Now let's try soft light and see how it is looking. So with the soft light, it's looking a little bit too dark for me, so I'll try color for just this part and see. So we can see color is also popping up too much. So to correct this, I can just create a duplicate of this. So Ctrl J. Creating a duplicate tool, you can just click and drag this onto the new layer icon, and basically you also get a duplicate. I'll make one soft light and I'll make the other color. Now once I do that, I'll reduce the opacity of both. So I can select probably 20 for this and 20 for that too. Let's try 50. So this is what I'm getting overall, and I think it's looking pretty much nice. Okay, so I'll go ahead and group this, obviously. Then I'll name this face. So let's just make it skin. So the next thing is to colorize the other portions. So I'll create a new layer. Now I have to do this first, and I'll call this probably background. Now I want to create or color this entire background. I'm going to be using the same color as I have already, but we'll be changing the blend mode. So let's just go ahead and finish that up. So basically we are going to do the same thing, but this time around we are going to be coloring the background or the ground itself. So let's just fast forward this part. Okay, so we are done, and this would have been a lot easier if I just created a selection around this, but I didn't do that. So we'll go ahead and select this background layer and we'll change it to soft light. Now you can see that the background looks a little bit colored. Now for the skin, I'll go back to the skin, obviously. Because of the eyes, we have to create layer masks out of this and cut them out. So I'll select the top one, I'll create a layer mask. Then I'll grab my brush tool, so right around here. Reduce the size to maybe around 20. Hit enter. Then I'll just zoom in. And I'll just go ahead and brush over that portion. Now, because the layer mask is set to white, I have to make sure that my foreground color is set to black. So any part like that, we just take it out. So we can see that it is working. So I'll just undo that. Now you can't see this because I have two layers of it. So after creating this, we have to do this exactly the same thing for the other layer. Like I said, you are not seeing the effect because there are two layers over here. So I'll just select this and create a layer mask for that. Now if I take it away, you can see that the effect is looking, or is just coming out nicer. So I'll just brush out every part of the teeth. Now let's do the same thing for the eyes. We are expecting it to be no, a little bit white, not brown like the skin. Okay, so I think I'm satisfied with this. Now I can see that the skin is protruding a little bit over here, so I'll just go ahead and shade that part in. I'll select the top one and do the same thing. Okay, so this is what we are getting. Now you can go ahead and color the shoe. basically we are just going to do the same thing. So I'll create a layer mask on top of it. This time around I'll go with a color like blue. I don't know why blue, but like I said, you have to make sure that you are selecting the lower version. So if you want blue like this, just make sure you are selecting the darker version of that blue, and you just zoom in. Now, like I said, you can just create a selection around this place. Then you just color over that portion as well. So obviously you can see that this is very time consuming, but if you are patient, your results will stand out very nice. So I'll just fast forward from this point onwards. So I'm done with the shoe. I'll do exactly the same thing for the baseball cap. So I'll just select the entire portion. Now I can just go with the top, but I just want it to be slightly uniform. So I'll start from the base, the darker version, which is even inward. Then I'll just shape over those entire area. Now I can obviously change the color, but I don't want to be wasting too much time, so I'll just use the same color over this part too. Change this to, like I said, we are going with the first two, so either color or soft light, whichever looks appealing to us. Now if you want to take this a little bit further, you can just go ahead and do the same thing for the trowel. So you know what, let's just do the same thing. So instead of the blue color, I'll just go with solid black over here. Then I'll just grab my brush tool and I'll just brush over that portion as well. So let's just quickly do this. Now bear in mind, because this is black, I don't really think I'm going to be using the color option, neither am I going to be using the soft light option. So we will probably just be darkening out this part. So you go with one like the multiply, or if none of them is working, we just reduce the opacity of this black painting we are creating over here. So let's zoom out and let's see how it is looking. So let's just work with darken first. I'm not seeing any changes. So if I change to color, now if you take the eyeball of this, I'm not really noticing anything. So I just change it back to normal and I'll just reduce the opacity to right around 20 or 30. I'll just go with 30 for this one. So basically that's how to create or colorize your image. Reduce the opacity to maybe about 80. I think was too punchy. Okay, so 90 is okay. So basically that's how to colorize your image. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more of our videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know, or you be among the first people to know anytime I upload a video. And as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Final Concept, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
This is what I wanna do. Let's have some fun.